The Magician's a Murder in Suburbia. The necromancer only got caught by the police as a murderer once, and it all began with a car accident, a black thumb, and a gift. The necromancer was, as a gardener, a black thumb. He was given a plant as a gift he couldn't kill, a blackberry plant. As a black thumb, Lance, the necromancer, it was all he could grow. He planted the mother plant in his backyard. When he planted it, a piece broke off, and he lovingly planted it in his front yard. He loved that plant. So when John Tyler, Lance's neighbor, deliberately ran off the road to save a cat and knocked over the blackberry, Lance totally lost it. He ran outside and the cat hissed and ran off as if it hated him as much as Lance hated it. Lance ripped the driver's door off the undamaged car. Lance wasn't human and he was stronger than he looked.
"What's wrong with you, Lance?"
shouted John, being dragged violently out of the car.
"Lance, you killed my tree!" screamed Lance, livid. "It was only a weed. I was going to talk to you about your weed problem. They are growing into my garden. Can you kill them?" "Lance, I love my blackberry plants,"
said Lance, who could only grow the blackberry and its scion. It was like a baby to him, the blackberry, so killing it was sacrilegious. John's wife called the police, who came.
"Enchanter, put him down,"
said Lance's great-uncle Reynard, the man in charge of the local police, when he arrived. "Lance, he murdered my blackberry plant," said Lance, who was also called the Enchanter, a superhero.
"I thought the Enchanter was a nice guy,"
said the scared John. Lance, "Only if you don't murder my trees," said Lance coldly.
"He loves his blackberries. He can't grow anything else."
"Yes," said Lance's son, Junior, embarrassed by his dad's behavior. It took Junior and Reynard to overpower Lance and drag him off John.
"It's all right, Dad, we can replant it,"
said Junior, pushing the car-broken stem of the blackberry and sticking the stem in the ground. "Lance, thank you, boy.
"It's just a weed." "If you touch my plants, I'll kill you myself."
"If you kill him, we'll arrest you."
Lance felt nervous. He was regretting the threat. It was foolish for a killer to threaten people. He calmed down. Later that day, the necromancer met his boss, Fate, who he killed people for.
"Lance, you have to kill him."
"I'm not a nut, I can't kill him."
"Why are you defying me?"
"I know him, he's my neighbor, and I threatened him in front of the police. They'll know it's me."
"He is a really bad man, he must die."
"Still, I can't hurt him."
"If you don't do what I ask, I'll tell the police who you and your father truly are."
"You can't."
Lance was a murderer and his father was living dead. There would be hell to pay if they were revealed.
"I can't."
Lance knew he couldn't say no, and doing what he was told would have him branded a killer either way.
"You must."
He knew he had to do as he was told. It would ruin his dad's and others' lives if they were revealed. Lance bought an illegal gun. The next night he found John on his lawn, cutting down and poisoning his beloved plant.
"No!"
John saw Lance holding a gun.
"No, I don't want to do this either."
Lance shot John and ran inside his house to his bathroom, panicking.
"You killed him, did you?"
I had to."
Lance made the gun disappear into thin air with magic.
"Come, boy, we must go out there. It will look wrong if we don't."
Lance walked into the street and saw the wife of the man he killed.
"Get him! He is a murderer! He has my husband's blood on his hands! No, I don't! You threatened him! You said if he killed your weed, you'd kill him, but it wasn't me!"
Lance knew no one believed him. The police didn't either. They arrested him.
"That was very stupid. Where is the gun?"
said the coroner, later alone with Lance.
"I know, I didn't want to do it. I was ordered to do it. I destroyed the gun."
"That madman again."
"Yes, I was blackmailed into it."
"How?"
"He said he'd tell the police who we are, Dad." "Yes, he would. He doesn't have any loyalty to his minions. We are just as good to him as the people he tells you to kill."
"We're lucky they don't suspect you are the necromancer. We'd both be in big trouble."
The father of the necromancer was known as Mortimer, the king of the Grim Reapers, and he could not be emperor of the solar system, which he was.
"Yes, I'm lucky they just think I'm a mad neighbor. I knew I'd be in a lot more trouble, so I used a gun instead of my usual MO, or I'd be in trouble, so would everyone else."
Lance, can't you see how insane it is killing your neighbor over a tree? What were you thinking?
I know it is. It wasn't me. I was inside my house.
Where did you put the gun? We know you bought one.
It was stolen from my home.
Likely story.
Elsewhere, an irate Fate spoke to Lance's brother Tempest, the timekeeper who ran time.
How could he get himself arrested?
You told him to do it even if he was sure he'd be arrested.
He has to do what I say. I thought he was making excuses.
You forced his hand.
How can I get him out of the lockup?
Days earlier, the cat saw Lance and hissed. The car crashed into the blackberry plant. Lance ran up to the side of the car. Lance threw open the car door.
What's wrong with you, Lance?
Lance screamed, livid.
You killed my tree. It was only a weed. I was going to talk to you about your weed problem. They are growing into my garden. Can you kill them?
Lance laughed. John looked at him confused.
Just kidding. How are you, John? It's just a tree. I'll see what I can do with the weeds out the back.
Lance winked. John wondered why he winked. A dimension away, Tempest watched his brother wink to him in the pool of time he was told what to say to lose suspicion. That night, Lance appeared at the police station when Lance was meant to kill John.
Why are you here at this hour?
I was bored.
Meanwhile, at the same time in the garden of Lance, Lance smiled. He saw John killing his so-called tree. He walked up to John, who didn't see him, and said, "Boo!" John looked around and saw Lance.
I'm just killing a weed. Me too.
Lance pulled a sword out from under his long, flowing black trench coat. John looked puzzled. Lance killed him with the sword and disappeared into thin air. Meanwhile, Tempest sat at the police station yawning as he posed as his brother, who he was covering for as an alibi as the necromancer killed his neighbor.